So I'm going to start by asking you to give me your name, your place of birth, and your age, please.
My name is Brad Pfaff. I was born in La Crosse, Wisconsin. I'm 51 years old.
Can you tell me a little bit about your job history prior to taking this position?
I've had the opportunity to work with United States Senator Herb Kohl, as well as United States Representative Ron Kind. But I was raised on a family farm in northern La Crosse County, and you learn hard work, dedication, and resilience on the farm.
Education, where did you go to school?
I graduated from high school, Melrose Mindoro High School. It's a small public high school in northern La Crosse County. And I got my undergraduate degree from the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay and my master's degree from George Mason University.
So out in D.C. then?
Yes, I did.
Tell me about your family.
So my wife Betty and I have been married for 27 years. We have 2 children. Our son is a high school senior and our daughter is a high school sophomore. We live in Onalaska. Onalaska is a suburb of La Crosse. My parents still live on the family farm in which I was raised. I'm the oldest of 3 children that were raised on that family farm in northern La Crosse County.
So I could probably guess as to what your answer to this is going to be, but can you tell me some of your favorite non-work interests?
Oh, I love to read. And I love to go for long walks. I especially love to go for long walks in the country. If I have the opportunity to walk along the country road, that's probably one of the most relaxing things that one can do. You get to enjoy the outdoors. You get to enjoy the natural scenery, the fresh air. So I love to go for walks, but I love to read. Reading is a pastime of mine that I spend an awful lot of time doing. First thing I do in the morning, and the last thing before I go to bed at night is have a book in my hand.
What are you reading right now?
Well, what I'm reading right now is I'm reading a book, Doris Kearns Goodwin, No Ordinary Time. Franklin Delano Roosevelt and his wife Eleanor during the Great Depression and the lead up to World War II. And any nightstand that I have always has a number of books on leadership, but also I just recently reread John Steinbeck's Grapes of Wrath. I think it's one of the greatest books ever written. There's an awful lot of lessons that you can learn from that book. And it tells the story of families, it tells the story of rural communities, it tells the story of marketplaces, it just tells the story of people. And I absolutely love John Steinbeck. And also Wallace Stegner. I always have a Wallace Stegner book near me at all times. But yes, leadership books, books about history, books about agriculture and rural communities. That's what I like to read.
Okay, can you tell me about your interest in being in the Evers administration? What kind of prompted that?
Well, I was raised in a rural area in northern La Crosse County. And family farmers and rural communities is who I am. My mother's family farmed and my father's family farmed. They've been farming in La Crosse County since they came to this country in the 1800s. Rural people and family farmers is something that I've always wanted to work to be able to provide assistance and help. And I've had the opportunity in my career working with Senator Herb Kohl as well as Congressman Ron Kind to be able to work on public policy, rural issues, specifically dairy issues, agriculture trade issues, some financial issues. But it's always come back to what can we do to assist our family farmers and our rural communities. Having the opportunity to be part of this administration, quite frankly, is I'm still humbled by this opportunity that Governor Evers has provided me, and I'm also extremely thrilled. This gives me an opportunity to, quite frankly, listen and to learn. To listen to our farmers and our residents in our rural communities. It also gives me an opportunity to learn from our family farmers and our residents in our rural communities. But it gives me an opportunity as well to help put policies in place that will help our family farmers and our residents in our rural communities. Because Wisconsin is a very, very proud state. We also are a state that's made up of extremely hardworking and resilient family farmers. They are experiencing some very challenging economic times right now. But the thing is that we produce some of the highest quality agriculture products from our farm fields and from our dairy cows. Without a question, consumers from around the world want an opportunity to enjoy the products that come from here. I want to give those consumers around the world the opportunity to enjoy those products. I want to be able to open markets. May they be local markets, regional, statewide, national, or international. We have an opportunity to do that. We here at DATCP help do that. We've got excellent people that are representing Wisconsin and Wisconsin agriculture products around the world. We have a team of trade specialists that are working with our partners around the world in order to find those new markets so our consumers around the world have the opportunity to enjoy these products. But we also have an opportunity, I have an opportunity here at DATCP in order to make sure that our policymakers in the state capitol, as well as the governor and the governor's senior team, recognize the importance of what's happening on our family farms and our rural communities. In order for our people to continue to succeed and to advance, they need to have opportunities that things like cell phone and broadband provide. Now, many people that live in urban areas may take for granted the fact that they have broadband access or cell phones. But people in our rural areas don't always have that opportunity. They deserve that opportunity. I want to make sure that people that live in rural areas have opportunities to succeed. They need to have a high-quality transportation system. As the Secretary of the Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection, I will continue to advocate that we provide funding opportunities for our rural highway systems so we can have roads and bridges in those areas. We need to make sure that our people in our rural areas have opportunities for a high-quality public education system. I will always be an advocate for our public education system to make sure that regardless of one zip code, that the student has an opportunity to attend a high-quality education system. Healthcare. We need to make sure that our people in our rural areas also have the opportunity to receive high-quality and accessible health care. As DATCP Secretary, I will continue to advocate for that. But I also think it's important that people recognize the breadth and the scope of what this department does. All 5.7 million people that live in this state, everybody that lives in this state and people that visit this state are impacted by the work of this department on every single day. Not only from the food that is grown and the dairy and meat products and food products that are processed, but also here at DATCP, we work with local inspectors to make sure that our water parks that we have at Wisconsin Dells continue to be licensed. Our bed and breakfasts that we have around the state and our campgrounds receive their license. And also, if you go to the grocery store and you want to purchase a deli salad, take a look. DATCP is the seal of approval. We make sure that the sanitary conditions are proper at the deli or at the local restaurant. And also, when you fill up your car with gas, if you pay for 10 gallons of gas, you should have been dispensed 10 gallons of gas. We have the weights and measures. It's the Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection. It has broad scope, important responsibilities. All 5.7 million people that live in this state and everybody that visits this state is impacted, I hope, in a positive way by the work of the 650 men and women that work here at DATCP.
So you kind of ran the gamut in terms of the priorities for the agency. Could you maybe point to a couple things that you wish the agency would be doing differently, or perhaps you hope to implement over your time here?
Well, I think it's extremely important that we recognize the fact of how important agriculture and our farmers are to this state. 1 out of every 9 people that are working in this state have a job that is related in one way, shape, or form to agriculture. 1 out of every 9 people working in this state have a job that is related to agriculture. That is huge. That is immense. Agriculture has an $88 billion annual economic impact on this state. I want to make sure that our consumers, people that live in our urban areas, people that live in our suburban areas, even those people that live in our rural areas that are not completely familiar with what our farmers do, that they recognize the importance of that. I want to make sure that our farmers feel that their voices are being heard, that they're being listened to. I think that is extremely important. There's very low prices right now. Our farmers are experiencing up to the fifth year of market prices that are below their cost of production. This is having a tremendous economic as well as emotional impact on our farm families. They need to be heard. They need to be heard by our policymakers. They need to be heard by individuals like myself. I promise you their ideas and their thoughts will be heard. So that's number one, is to listen. The second thing that we need to do is I want to make sure that our policymakers recognize the breadth and the scope of what this department does. This department impacts, again, all 5.7 million people that live in this state on a daily basis, and all individuals that visit this state. I want to make sure that people recognize that this department provides a value added. It provides good. That the food that we eat, we can have assurance that what we do here at the Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection, we're looking out for the best interest, not for the individuals that grow the food and those that process the food, but also those that handle the food, and then ultimately those of us that eat it. So again, having our policymakers recognize the breadth and the scope of what this department does, and also making sure that everybody in this state recognizes that 1 out of every 9 people working in this state has a job that is related to agriculture in one way, shape, or form. That is tremendous, and I want to make sure that the voices of our farmers are heard.
Very good. Last 2 questions to wrap up. Can you give me the best advice you've gotten since you've taken the job?
Hire well. I feel that I've hired extremely well. I'm very proud of the team that we have at the Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection. But I also go back to the advice that my mother gave me as a young boy. And she said I was given 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. I need to listen twice as much as I speak, and I'm trying to do that. And then I will also go back to some advice that my parents gave me as when I was a teenager and I was all set and ready to go and ready to conquer the world. They essentially said this, and I'm paraphrasing, but you don't know where you're going unless you know where you come from. I know where I'm from, and I'm doing my best, doing my very best to help make sure that here at Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection, we recognize the men and women that are out there growing the crops, milking the cows, and making sure that we can continue to be proud in this state because we are America's Dairyland.
Any chance you could give me the worst advice you've gotten?
I receive a lot of different ideas. Listening is what I do. I value all ideas and all thoughts, and I'll make sure that in one way, shape, or form that those ideas and thoughts that I hear, and I'll make sure that our team here listens.
Thank you very much for your time. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
I appreciate the opportunity.